You are listening to the Built to Grow podcast.
All right, welcome back to the Built to Grow podcast. I'm your host, Tim Lyons, in studio, joined, as always, by Randy Angston. What's up, guy? Real AF.
Yeah, I think that's a little shout out for our boy Andy Frisella.
Yeah, Real AF. Oh, that's his show. Yeah, very cool. Very cool.
Initials.
Interesting.
See, I got me too. I was like, oh, it is real as fuck. But it's Andy Frisella. Smart guy.
You have to bleep that last line. So anywho, we've got our Fitness Growth Summit that we are deep in the weeds on, guys. We're launching this in September. You should be hearing some more details about that. 30 speakers, some big names you've heard of, some people that are up-and-comers that you haven't heard of that actually delivered a lot of gold. I was very impressed by several people on this as I'm interviewing them for the summit. I'm just like getting blown away. Some are like just real professional. So more details coming out on that soon. The URL for that will be fitnessgrowsummit.com, but I don't think the website's up yet, but we'll make sure you guys have that. So yeah, we've got a good show today. We're going to talk a little bit about traffic, the intent of traffic, what the whole kind of point of traffic is. Funny story is I was driving back from California, I guess, over the weekend, picking the family up, and got Traffic Secrets book, and I'd read snippets of it. I have that hard copy, but it's audio books for me are a little bit easier to
maximize our time.
Yeah, so I'm shooting a 6-hour drive. I actually drove up and back.
Yeah, you're a
same
beast.
day. Anywho, got in there and was listening. Really, the biggest takeaway from that book is something that we've already been doing for a long time, and that was the 3 kind of goals of traffic. And the 3 goals of traffic are traffic that you earn by collaborations with I guess organic reach, from getting from other people posting your stuff, to traffic you buy. So traffic you buy is paid traffic, to traffic you own. And traffic you own is exactly what we talk to you about every single day, is getting your list, your email list, your contact database list, your CRM. We use Keep. If you're interested in Keep, let us know. But building that the traffic that you own. So at any given time, you can run a campaign, drive traffic to your offers, and generate revenue, or nurture, or educate, or entertain your current list. And it just goes to show you that this is not common sense. This isn't common sense. So
yeah, I mean, it's huge. I mean, especially in the marketing and new business topic. We talk everybody the lead generation thing. Well, this is exactly how to make all of that stuff pay off very, very successfully for the long term.
Yeah. So gym owners, business owners, bar owners, restaurant owners, any business owner, we pay for advertising all the time. You pay for it. You're like, what's the next thing we're going to run? Well, let's put that out. Let's get that banner. Let's get that, direct mail piece, or whatever, Facebook ad that you're going to run. And the whole goal of it is to generate, leads and sales. However, there's only and it's a small percentage of the people that are ready to buy now.
Today, yeah.
You still may get people interested, but they're just not going to hand you their credit card today. And that's okay. And that's something that business owners need to be patient about, because the honest truth is most business owners, they run a campaign, they get what they get, and then they do it again the next month, a totally different thing.
Yep, exactly.
And they're reinventing the wheel. But wait a minute, hold on, pump the brakes for a second here. What about getting those leads and owning those leads by putting them into long-term automation, nurture, retargeting, all these types of things that you can do instead of having to pay more money each and every single month? That's a pretty good thing, right?
Absolutely. So and there's a lot of, to speak to that, I mean, there are ways and mediums now. A podcast I would say that we don't own the list of listeners like we would if it was in an email database or something like this, but the intent of the listener here is going to be much, much higher than the person who's never heard of us. If they're subscribed to our podcast and they're active listeners, it's an engaged listener. It's just one way of kind of trickling up that intent, build that like, trust, and respect factor over time. And this is a conversation that I think, it's always played big part in our marketing efforts, especially with with the gym, and when we were helping other gyms grow their clientele base. But people have to understand, like, the person that you're speaking to, it's their mentality and their, like you said, in their position, their belief right now. Are they ready to buy today? And if they're not ready to buy today, the conversation you should be having with them isn't buy my stuff today.
Again,
every single time you talk to them, it should be a conversation about why they should be buying from you instead of somebody else. But don't pitch them every time. When it comes to email content, you hear like the 70-30 rule, right? You need, for every 10 emails that go out, 7 should be content-based, 3 pitches within there, things like that. Why? It's because people are just inundated with ads or direct response. That's not building a relationship. That's asking for a sale. You're asking from something from that listener. And if you haven't built that respect level, that if you haven't earned their business, why are you asking for them to buy from you?
Well, it's a twofold thing. It's traffic that you own and control, but then what the messaging is when you actually go and talk to those folks. So what you were saying, the podcast subscribers are technically traffic we can control. We control. We don't own it. A retargeting list is controlled. A YouTube subscriber, I guess the Facebook page fans, those would be controllable. So we don't own that, but we control it. So it's the same kind of process. You've paid for it once. We've paid for those email lists and things like that.
Or they've bubbled up from earned.
Yeah, you're right.
You know what I mean?
But the whole goal, let's just make this really clear. The whole goal of traffic is to convert all traffic sources into traffic that you own. And by own is that you have them on your database. You've got them, your email, name, first name, last name, email, phone number, maybe address, maybe some more information about them. But you own it, and then you can control the messaging at any given time, what you want to say to these folks.
Yeah, it creates that one-to-one. I can now reach out to this individual and just whatever I need to say.
Yep.
But you have that control, like you said.
Or take them down different journeys. Maybe you segment the list into specific interest or how they got on your list, and you speak to them about those specific things that they had interest in. Maybe you do surveys, internal surveys to your list to determine, male, female, fat loss or muscle gain or athletic development or movement, like those are the things that you're trying to figure out. And then you take these folks down different journeys, speaking to what they want to hear about, not just general content and, in general, right? So lots of things. But the point here, again, is you run a Facebook ad, you run Instagram ads, you run different mediums of ads, and you pay for that.
Yes.
And you collect leads, and then you need to nurture those leads and put them into different journeys and buckets on the list that you own. And that's the whole point of this podcast is all that other stuff is great, but we got to get them into our ecosystem. And guys, the best of the best ecosystem that you could be playing in is in Keap or Infusionsoft, period. It does more for you, and it has the ability to do more things than any other CRM out there. You need to speak to us about Keap, and don't go to their website and buy it because you're going to pay more than if you just come through us and get it. And that's not a pitch. That's the truth. I don't know how many people heard about Keap for the first time through us. They go and buy it online. They tell us how excited they are. I ask them what they're paying, and it's twice as much as what we could have got it for,
Yeah, with the features that are included and stuff, yeah.
So just be smart. If you're interested in Keap, just reach out. I can get it for you. It'll take you 10 minutes. You don't have to work with us, but I can make sure that you get it, because then we get credit for it and all these other great things that happen. But we can get you a better deal, and you can get more contacts, but more features, more users for less price. What else do you want?
That's perfect. But to speak to that, the control, the conversation, we talk a lot about the problem with lead generation and why in our industry everybody's keeping their attention on just generating the lead. Well, again, that goes back to like where that contact is in your database. Once you control them, that's your power. That's where all of the marketing and all of the efforts of all of this really comes into place. Now you have that direct line of communication with your client or with your prospect. Segment your lists, understand their position. What are they looking for? they're interested in the services you guys provide, but you can't just go top down and just blast them with the things you find interesting. So the polling of them, the surveys, things like that. The more information you have about the people in your database, the more you can tailor your conversation to that as well. And I love that. This is one of my favorite parts of marketing, is more of the psychology behind, like, you know, who's sitting in what chair, what needs to be said to these individuals in order to highlight, you know, the benefits that you provide
and move them further down the path to becoming a client of yours. And that's the goal of marketing, is to move them into a direction.
And when you can look at it and understand that the intention, that your intent behind it, like when you look at the sale of your service, when you believe in your product so much and you know that it's actually going to help that client, it doesn't come across like salesy. You know what I mean? You're not positioning. It's not a control thing like, oh, I need to get this sale. Like, I need to connive this person into buying whatever. That's not how it is, you know? It's more about helping show this individual what they're looking for so that they can step into the arena and get the results that they want.
On their own.
Exactly. And all you have to do is provide them with the information. Their decision-making is going to take place.
Great point, because what's typically done in the fitness space is run marketing to get sales today.
Absolutely.
That's what's typical. Yeah. What's great is, what's a good feeling is that you've got a system in place to get those people from leads into consultations automatically through automation, through our CLA. And all you're focused on is front-end leads. You're just pushing the traffic into the lead sources and letting the system speak to those folks and move them up and through. And then if they're not ready now, it just recycles them back long term and just have this kind of like cyclical thing. But when you're always worried about the sale today, it's nerve-wracking.
Well, the problem is, because everything you just laid out there, everybody is focused on the front end. I mean, even our clients that have the stuff, I mean, okay, now they can keep their attention on the front end.
Yeah.
But the problem is, most facilities and most businesses don't have that middle ground, that automation, or that conversation taking place every week with every single call that we have regarding our CLA. You know, we break down the systems that these gym owners have in place. And more often than not, even big organizations where you've got, you know, a 20,000 square foot gym, or you've got a sales team, you've got a front desk, you know, management, front end management, with the best of intention, leads are dropped all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And it's because all of our focus is front end, is the newest lead. And so the lead that came in yesterday, after you reached out 3 times, there's no longer doesn't feel like I have an opportunity to sell or like move this person forward. Cool. Move them to the side and focus on the one that came in today. Well, when do you pick up that lead? And again, with the best of intentions, in having an individual in place, it's not necessarily their fault. I mean, their job is to convert leads, and they're going to convert. They're going to focus on the lead that they feel that they can convert the greatest. But what happens when you forget about them? Nobody's going back to those leads.
Yeah, nobody's going after them. And, you know, what do you hear all the time? 7, 8, 9 touch points before people make, you know, buying decisions. And if you're only calling them 3 times and you feel like 3 is enough, you're wrong, because the statistics are out there. You've got to reach out and have communication with these folks 7, 8, 9, 10 times before they actually pull the trigger.
We just discussed it with, I think it was with Zach. Guy came back around after a long-term nurture from here at Pulse. Evan Howard was another one. He had 2, I think it was like a 2-year buying cycle. You know, this individual finally came to the table because just continued nurturing and things like that. And I think they couple paid in fulls, which is always a big, you know, it's a big win. It feels like a great day when somebody walks in and purchases your services.
It's really cool. Yeah. So guys, start rethinking your systems and your processes. Rethink about how and what the point of your marketing is. You know, we didn't get into branding or messaging or any of that stuff, but the point of this podcast was to get people into traffic that you own, which is your database, on Keep, or whatever you're using, and make sure that you stay in front of these people, because, yeah, you do have to speak to them several times before they are ready to make decisions. And when you do that, and when you stay in front of these folks, it pays off. It just does. It just pays off. You may not see it today. You may not see it this week, but, you know, over the next several months, it just compounds. It compounds. You get more sales because people are excited and they're bubbling up.
It's the work. You know what I mean? It's the not sexy, not fun. It's the delayed gratification is what it is. And if you can get comfortable understanding that the work that you're putting in with this list, with this nurturing these prospects, is paying off in the long term, you just understand that, because that's the power. Don't live and die by the sale of today versus the marketing you put out today, because that's not realistic. That's not how you build long-term sustainable growth.
Definitely. All right, guys. So that's it for this episode. Go get that. Go own that traffic, guys. Until next time, keep changing lives. We'll see you on the next show.